If you're not familiar with California, we've got two seasons here, summer and more summer. And right now, we're in more summer. Whew. All right, here we go.
Everything the light touches is...
Can someone please explain to me why anyone in their right mind would remove air conditioning from their street car, especially for those that live in hot climates like California? It just doesn't make any logical sense to me. Thankfully, my car does have air conditioning. It just needs a full recharge after we installed that brand new motor into the car. My car has been converted to R134A. You can see right here, retrofitted to R134A. Cars of this era generally used R12, which is another type of refrigerant. It's a freon that isn't readily available anymore. In fact, I actually think it might be illegal these days. So having easy access to R134 where you can just drive down to your Walmart or just click on Amazon and order it is a lot better of a solution. So if your car is not converted to R134, I highly suggest it. It basically just involves changing out a few gaskets and maybe some seals because the two refrigerants aren't cross-compatible in that regards. They will wear out the seals and such. So let's take a look at the lines and I'll show you how to proceed with this very simple job. Shouldn't take you more than 20 minutes or so. For this job, you're going to need a can of R134A refrigerant, a hose with a gauge attached to it, and some beer doesn't hurt. I personally prefer the Japanese variant. Now, first thing you're going to want to do is turn the car on. Make sure it's not in gear. Oh, beautiful. You want to turn this guy up full blast, turn the air conditioning on, and make sure it's on the coldest setting. Now as the car warms up, you want to check the outside temperature, and in my case it's about 94 degrees Fahrenheit right now. The reason for this is you want to match the ambient temperatures with the pressure on this gauge. Now this guy is calibrated for about 75 to 85 degrees Fahrenheit, and they indicate 45 psi when at 85 degrees. So since I'm a little above that, I'm going to be shooting for 50 to 55 psi. When pressurizing the system with a new refrigerant. Temperature will be increasing with pressure, so just go with that. In standard R12 systems, you'll find this guy right here, and in the old way, you would look through this little window to see bubbles, and then when the bubbles disappear, you've finished refilling your system with refrigerant. Now, since this has been converted to R134, I'm going to find this guy. So this is the low pressure side. That's where I'm going to be filling in refrigerant from. Another thing I want to note is that since I do have this older gauge style, I have an adapter for this new type of Schrader valve top that they have for these cans. So the old style, you used to puncture the can and it would just run out. But these new ones have a valve so you can actually control the output. So this valve that I have is the older style. It used to be for the puncture. I'll have a link down to the newer styles so you don't have to get an adapter. This bottom piece is an adapter. And the problem with this one is that the moment I attach this to the hose, it's going to start spraying. There's no control to it. So my case is going to be a little different, but if this hose had a little valve attached to it where you can turn it on and off, that would be the ideal scenario. And I'll have that link down below. There's a newer version of this that has this little button that you can press. So it'll make the job a lot easier. So as you guys can see, the pressure initially is around 36, 37. A little above 35. I'm gonna have to fill this a bit more in order to get some cold air into the car. Pressure's at about 55. Let's check inside and see if we've got cold air. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. It's nice. Got nice cold AC. Woo! See, like I said, that thing was super easy. Now, don't forget to remove the hose, obviously, and put the cap back on the low pressure side. Another thing I've been wanting to fix on this car, a really small and quick fix, is this rock chip right here. There it is. So that guy's pretty small, but I do want to prevent that from cracking even further. A lot of the times people will ignore those small little cracks and then they end up extending and they have to replace the entire windshield. So I don't want to do that. What we have here is this windshield repair kit. Very quick and easy. As you can see, that crack that was mine is similar to the one that's in the middle. To start off, we want to bring the car back in the shade. We can't have the glass be hot while we do this repair. After the glass is cooled down, you want to give it a quick wipe with some simple green, or any glass cleaner will work really. We just want to get some of the dust or sediment that may have accumulated since the last wash out of there before we fill it with the new epoxy solution. Peel the back layer off of the adhesive seal and place it around the crack. Make sure to push down on the seal itself. This will prevent the epoxy that we fill in from seeping around the edges. Peel the backing from the top of the adhesive seal and attach the pedestal to it while making sure to line up the top tabs with each other. Press down on this as well to ensure a good seal when we fill in the epoxy. Cut the tip off the resin container and attach it to the top of the pedestal. We want to fill it with a bit of epoxy, but make sure not to use all of it because we're going to need a drop or two of this later when we fill in the pit. I actually make that mistake here and it shows up later in the final results. Attach the syringe to the top of the pedestal, making sure that it's nice and tight before you pull on it all the way till you reach the lower notch. We're going to leave it in this position for at least 10 minutes.
Oh yeah.
After the 10 minutes are up, you want to remove the syringe from the pedestal to let some air in, put it back, and push the top of the syringe until you reach the higher notch. We're going to leave it in this position for at least 20 minutes. After at least 20 minutes have passed, we're going to remove the syringe as well as the pedestal and seal using the provided razor. You want to peel it from the top tab, and then after you've got that tab up, you want to grab it and pull away from there, bending away at the notches that are present on the pedestal's base itself. You may have to wrestle with this a bit, but it'll all eventually come off. In my case, there were still some parts of the seal left on the glass. You want to pull those off as well. As you guys can see, I've used way too much resin here, so have a paper towel ready just in case you also have runoff. If you guys didn't make the same mistake I did, then you should still have a few drops of resin left in the container. Put enough of it to fill in the pit and then cover it with the curing film. Use the razor blade to lightly squeeze out any of the bubbles you can get to. We just gotta let it cure in the sunlight for 15 minutes. Carefully use the razor blade to lift off the curing film and clean up all of the excess resin around the crack. Try to use the blade as parallel to the glass as possible. The more perpendicular of an angle that you take to the glass, the higher the chances of you scratching it. After cleaning up all the excess resin, you're done. In my case, I didn't have enough resin to fill in the pit itself before putting the curing film on, so the pit still remains, but all of the small cracks have been filled, so I should be protected against the cracks extending in the future. I may pick up another kit later on just to fill the pit in, but for now, I'm happy with the results. Alright guys, that's going to be it for today's video. Thank you all for watching. I know I didn't make too many big changes to the car today, and that was primarily because I wanted to get some of those smaller loose ends tidied up before some of those big parts come in. So I've got a big order coming in from Restore Parts and Battle Garage. So from Battle Garage, we've got a brand new Willwood big brake kit, a Martellius header, as well as an under panel for the front end. It's going to really block some of the air from going up, keep the engine bay nice and tidy, as well as increase some of the aerodynamic capabilities of the car. It's pretty much a flying brick at this point, so I can use all the aero I can get. We've also got a brand new JDM Zenki front bumper coming in from Restore Parts, and on the way I might be picking up a nice carbon. If that plays through, I'll definitely keep you guys posted. I want to document some of the trip up there. We've got a lot of cool scenery on the way there, so stay tuned for that. Don't forget to give the video a like and click the subscribe button, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace out and stay awesome.